So thumb deployment on both hands, that's good. Axis locks makes it so that left-handed people can use it as well. As you can clearly see, my left hand is not as trained as my right hand. Hello and what is going on, guys? My name is Miguel. Welcome back to the channel, Miguel EDC, where we talk all about EDC gear. Today we're going to be looking at this Ganzo knife. This is an axis lock Ganzo knife. It's called the Firebird FB7651. It's another one of those interesting names knives out there. This one is an axis lock, and so we're going to get into it here as we speak. Quick rundown: we have a G10 like military green looking scales on this guy. We have this is a satin finish 440C, so it's a high carbon type of steel. It has a decent amount of corrosion resistance. It's going to be up there in the budget category. By the way, links will be in the description for all the products that you see on this video today. Those do help out the channel at no extra cost to you, so keep that in mind. But yeah, so this guy comes in at around, I want to say $21 or $22, right? And I mean, for the price, right, if you're looking to get into an axis lock, I mean, this guy, you know, there's very little to complain about. We're going to get more into that as the video progresses. So let's begin with a quick overall length on this guy. All right, let's see. This guy is about overall length, I want to say 7 3/4. 7 3/4 overall length. The handle is going to be about almost 4.5 inches, right? It's a little bit on the lengthier side. The blade is going to be around 3 1/4 inches, right? So that's your overall measurements right there. Let's do a quick hardware check. By the way, I use the Strabito tool set right here. Brings all kinds of drill bits that I may need. It's very affordable. Check out the affiliate links in the description below. Those do help out the channel at no extra cost to you. During the hardware check, we're gonna take a look here. These look like T6 or maybe T8. Let's do T6. Let's see. All right, spot on. T6 right there for the frame or the scales. I want to say this guy's definitely bigger, so the pivot might be a T8. Let's try that. Make sure you guys can see that on camera. Yep, spot on. T8 on the pivot on both ends, right? Whereas everything else is going to be a T6. Let me check the pocket clip. Yeah, even the pocket clip is going to be a T6 all around, except the pivot, which is a T8. All right, let's get a quick weight on this guy. Let's take a look here. This guy comes in at 3.6 ounces. 3.6 ounces on this guy. Okay, for reference, let's weigh the Fleisa folding knife again. That was 3.6 as well, so about the same weight on both of these. All right, so that's pretty good. All right, and then last but not least, let's check out the Ortis. It's a little bit lighter at 2.9. Let's get a quick blade stock thickness on this guy. This blade is a little bit on the chunkier side. I mean, not crazy, but definitely a little bit on the thick side for sure. It's gonna be 0.12 inches on the thickest portion, right there, 0.12 inches, so 0.12. And right here on the very tip, let's see what do we got. So it goes down to, there it is, 0.2, right? So 0.02, I'm sorry, let me correct myself. Can't even read numbers today. 0.02 inches in the very tip right there. So let's check out that opening action once again. You can deploy this guy with the axis lock. You can do your thumb deployment right here. All right, so let me do the thumb deployment. All right, there it is. You could also open it with the flick of the wrist, like you can with most axis knives. I did notice on the return, so unlike the Fleisa folding knife, right, the return on this guy, you have to give it a lot of, you know, motion on the way back in order to fully close. Otherwise, you might run into a scenario where it does that, right? It doesn't close all the way, so you have to kind of finish it off with your thumb. But once you get it figured out, right, I think you're gonna do just fine. There's what that's what I meant right there. All right, that being said, can you reverse flick this guy? That's a good question. I think that'd be a little bit tricky. I feel like if you get enough motion, you could. But yeah, it's gonna be very, very difficult. I know you guys find pleasure in seeing me attempt and fail over and over again. But yeah, it's gonna be very, very difficult on this guy because there's not a lot of room right there. I wanna say if there was some sort of groove or indentation right here, that would help a bit. If you're left-handed, of course, that comes handy here, right? So you would use a thumb deployment. So thumb deployment on both hands, that's good. Axis locks make it so that left-handed people could use it as well. As you can clearly see, my left hand is not as trained as my right hand. Obviously, I'm right-handed, but I mean, you get the idea, right? So again, you have G10, green scales. I want to say this guy comes in some other colors too. The steel is satin finish. It's a 440, so high carbon concentration, somewhat of a budget steel, and you know, a decent corrosion resistance. I want to say when you first get this knife, right, it is I want to say this axis lock right here, it's gonna beat up your index finger and your thumb a little bit. I don't know if you guys could see that there, but yeah, after you do it a couple of times, you know, it's gonna beat up your fingers a little bit. But once you you know, kind of break it in, you know, it kind of becomes a little bit more user friendly. So don't get discouraged if that's the case right off the bat when you first get it, right? I mean, this blade is like nothing else. I like the fact that it's sort of like a drop point in a way. I want to say I like the fact that it kind of drops to here and then it drops some more, right? But it's also a fingerprint magnet, right? There's like fingerprints everywhere and I'm always constantly having to wipe it down. Other than that, the pocket clip is, you know, deep carry to a certain extent. You're gonna have about this much of the knife showing out of your pocket. I mean, it's not as much as, let's say, a Spyderco with the standard clip, right? But I mean, it's still, you know, a little pyramid right there popping out of the pocket there. It could have been maybe a hair deeper into, you know, a little bit of a deeper carry pocket clip. But again, I'm not complaining. There's a decent amount of resistance right there. I want to say it goes in and out of the pocket very good. There's a lanyard hole right there, right, in the form of a somewhat of a triangle. So if you're into that, that's going to come very handy right there. That being said, guys, again, if you're looking to get into axis locks at an affordable price, I mean, the $20 range right there, can't go wrong with this guy right here. Keep in mind, like I mentioned earlier, it does take kind of a breaking in period, right, for you to break in the axis lock, right? And by the way it works is when you push this bar back, right, it releases the blade, right? So there's a blade and that also holds the blade in place. See, when it locks in, right, when the blade is fully folded, it locks the blade in place. So that's how an axis lock works in a nutshell. This guy will make a perfect first axis lock knife if you're looking to add that to your arsenal. If you don't already have an axis lock knife, right, this is one of them. Also the Fleisa folding knife, right, these two, right, can't go wrong with either one. I would probably personally lean towards the Fleisa a little bit more because the action on this guy is a little bit smoother and the blade is also thinner on this guy compared to the Ganzo, right. Also a little bit smaller too, right, you saw that on the size comparison. So leaning towards the Fleisa just by hair, but again, they're both very, very solid when it comes to, let's say, your first axis lock or even a budget axis lock. Also makes a great gift for a friend, makes a great gift for maybe you're trying to get a friend into EDC, you're not too sure if they're gonna like it or enjoy it or what have you. You're taking a gamble and you don't really want to break the bank. This might be a good, you know, a good starting point, definitely a good starting point to get a friend or family member or someone into knives. As far as the blade goes, right, that looks pretty aligned to me. You guys be a judge of that, but that looks smack in the center right there. All right, you guys let me know your thoughts in the comments. But yeah, even after some heavy use on this guy, that blade is pretty spot on. And like I said, this guy is solid, right? There's no movement of the blade anywhere, side to side or anything like that. This thing is rock solid in place. So I hope you guys have enjoyed the video on this guy. Let me know in the comments what you like to see, if I miss anything, if there's any specific question that you have about this guy that perhaps I didn't cover in the video. Please let me know in the comments. I'd love to answer whatever type of questions you may have, or anything else you'd like to see in future videos. Let me know. Also, by the time you are done watching this video, it's very possible that the Civivi Elementum button lock, this guy right here, is already up in the channel as a review. If that's the case, I'm going to put a card right here for you guys to check this guy out. This guy is butter smooth for a flip open, right? All right, thank you guys for checking out the video, and I'll see you next time. Peace.